the face of mounting criticism over recent losses at the produce buying company PBC, the deputy CEO in charge of finance at the company, Fiifi Boafo, is defending management. In our latest hotline documentary, PBC Troubles, JoyNews' investigative desk showed the steep decline in PBC's market share from 30.88% in 2016 to 8% in 2021. According to Madam Boafo, the management team cannot be solely blamed for the company's recent financial struggles. Public Affairs Manager of Cocoa Board, Fiifi Boafo, says they are deeply concerned about PBC's fall.
But for the intervention, the situation of PBC would have been worse. However, we are at a stage where there's a need for us to intervene because we believe that even though we have about 65 license buying companies, PBC is one of the key license buying companies we do business with. So if there's any reason for us to intervene and ensure that PBC is able to stay and work, then the board will be prepared to do so. And that's precisely what we are working on. PBC is a very important LBC to us. So any effort to help PBC stabilize is one we are very much concerned and prepared to do. So yes, we are looking at our own financial situation and how best to position ourselves such that we are able to deal with our responsibilities. Seed fund is one of the things we do or give out to support the LBCs and their operations. So in as much as we continue to give seed funds to LBCs, PBC will surely have that priority as we help in stabilizing the organization. The wish would have been that PBC will have other means of supporting the activities, because for a license buying company, the expectation is that the license buying company will be able to raise some finances aside Cocoa Board. But in the situation they find themselves, of course, we also acknowledge that that is a challenge they have. And what is important for us to do at this point is to ensure that PBC stays afloat and is able to perform its responsibilities.
Well, her position is being disputed by former CEO of PBC, Nana Boafo, who joins us live right now. Good morning. I'm grateful for your time, sir. If what Ms. Vivian is saying is not the true picture, what then is a true position?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much. This morning, I was called to listen to JoyNews AM show. I was the acting chief executive and handed over in 2017 and moved the president, Nana Dankwa, transferred me to CPC. And so I was very disturbed about Vivian giving that distortion. She was in that year deputy audit manager and was promoted to DCFNA. So in reality, if he's not got the facts, it would have been prudent that he gets the facts right. When we handed over in 2016, we did hand over to a management team, which then he was not a member of that management team. So I was just thinking that he'll get the facts right and speak to it. And that's why I thought that it is prudent that I call in to set the record straight.
We all agree that in 2016, the company was doing very well compared to what has happened right now. From where you sit, having worked before at that company, what could be accounting for the decline?
They themselves can explain better, because in 2018-19, Mr. Fiifi Boafo himself will attest to it that the same thing that from the 2013 yesterday that she was talking about, we maintain a consistent 2013-14 till 2016-17 from 32 to 30.8%. In the 2017 that we were leaving, that I was transferred in September 2017, we had already secured the guarantees and everything. So in that 2017-18, they made up with 23%. The following year that they had to handle it on their own, they dropped to 17%, and that's why they are dropping and dropping. The issue is that what is it that has gone wrong for them? As Fiifi Boafo alluded, CPC is a strategic, PBC is a strategic, and it's not for nothing that the government itself placed it in that position as a buyer of last resort. And that's how we had 106 depots and buying centers. For whatever reason now, we left a balance, which is a debt, of in our books on my handing over of 289 million. That 289 million was 42.5 million for the Golden Bean Hotel, 50.2 million for PBC Bupe share, 10.5 rehabilitating this our office. We purchased 20 new articulators and 20 tractors. So the only outstanding debt was 80 million. So now, what is it that, let them say that, what have they added on to this debt, which is now in their position? My sister, if you have an institution at Bupe, as the gentleman was talking about, where you have 200 tons production a day, giving yourself at 80% capacity, it gives you 160 tons. Working for 330 days is 52,800. When you do the share extraction, you get 48%. So that will be 25,344. At $1,400 is $35 million. At even 11 cedis, it is equivalent to 494,000 tons buyer's margin they will get for cocoa. What is it that has come that they've abandoned that structure? Today, go to their office today. If you can send somebody to the office, even the furniture and their curtains there, they've not even been able to replace. Yesterday, I was telling Kojo on the JoyNews that they were able to make a profit. In the cocoa buyer's margin, ask him her again. The buyer's margin is a composition of primary evacuation and everything. Did you hear some of the district managers talking about it, that they themselves have to handle the primary evacuation? These all cost centers, they are not paying. That is the reason why it is in this. You know, seriously, I didn't want to come in there but the way that she was alluding that it is an inherent problem, that's why I thought that I need to clear the air, because they have to handle their own issues. What is it that brought them in when the whole workers in 2019 made a big demonstration that called for the president to dismiss the former managing director and the former FMA? You see, I don't want to go into detail, but I just wanted to clarify these issues that they themselves have got into this mess. The better they get it right, it is good for them than to get into these politicking. We are here only to let the government know that it is a big institution that needs to be addressed. And since 2000, that the government, we decided to do the restructuring of the licensed buying companies. This has been the position. So every management that has come has tried to work on something. Like this morning, my brother was asking the Club 100. We did a back-to-back, 29, 2010. We were first, second. And that's how, at a point in time, we saw that we got some money and made some dividend to the government. And so we said that, why don't we look into diversification? You have a guest room of a 7-room guest room at Ishaeso, which is only 200 meters to this place. Why don't you add on? Before Cocoa Board in 1977, restructured Ghana Cocoa Marketing Board, PBC was the only institution into all this buying of cocoa, share, and coffee. And that's why we went back. It was President Kufuor's time, which was followed by the NDC time. And that's how we set up this institution. You have an institution of a 16-acre land, which can bring you $35 million, and you sit down and you collapse it. And now look at how they showed there, as the gentleman was saying. What is it that I'm just saying that I wanted to just come in to let them sort themselves out and stop the distortion that they are doing.
So from 30.88% to 8% is a steep decline. What would you recommend at this point for the company to actually bounce back?
Well, I'm sorry, I am not in charge now, but I am only addressing the issue. But the challenge, as I'm saying, which Fiifi Boafo alluded, Fiifi Boafo himself should go into the press release he gave out in 2018, when the same management, when they had money and they were not using it for the purpose and had to let Cocoa Board come in because everybody was bashing Cocoa Board that PBC has bought cocoa and is not paying for the farmers. And they have to come with a press release that they've given PBC enough money, so they don't understand why they are doing that. So the question is, what is it that they are not doing right? And that's how they have to look after it. Sister, as the gentleman was saying, we did the structure in a way that the PBC share, just like we are into the internal marketing of cocoa, the same structure was done in the share sector. So we had the PBC share company buying the share not from all the agencies and doing the transfer pricing to the PBC Bupe. So in the transfer cost pricing, you sell the share note to them at $400, and they also process at $1,000. So this is how it was working. Yesterday, you saw the articulator that has been back there for that number of years. When you go to Bupe, you can ask Jinapo and all of them. The place that was just bustling like that, giving jobs to everybody. And now, look at what the video is there. What is it that is not right? That you have a 16-acre land which can give you a revenue which is commensurate to 494,000 tons cocoa, and you've abandoned it. We did an internal structure of buying now in the cocoa sector. If you ask Fiifi Boafo, he will tell you all these foreign companies are into this purchases of, that is what we call it, the niche market. We introduced it first. They've abandoned that institution. You can call them and they will ask. Because that one, you have it, that you have extra money. All these institutions, they've abandoned order for whatever reason that is up to them. And this is what, as I'm saying, they themselves should look up to it and ask what is wrong. You then see where the deputy audit manager and came in 2021. So what handing over was given in 2016, if you care to know, I can bring it, it's like a double of a Bible that we handed over to them, detailed everything. And that's what I'm explaining. That debt of 289 million was a structure of 42.5 at Golden Bean. And we, in our cash flow, we said that in 4 years, Golden Bean will be able to make, truly in 2018, ask her, didn't they go to Golden Bean to take salary to pay their workers? In the same 2018-19, didn't they go to Bupe to collect money? Because that was how the cash flow was. Why have they abandoned it?
So there are questions about the funding for the hotel and the Bupe construction. How was it funded?
Yes, so that's what I'm saying, that in the course of our activity, we decided that in the 09, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, we saw that we cannot rely on a product where you only look at the weather. So we said, okay, can we do diversification? And that is how the produce buying company was changed to PBC Limited, so that we can get into all these activities. So we discussed with the banks and told them that we don't have money. So they said, okay, we can run with them on the overdraft into this activity and pay. So that is how we structured it. So for instance, if you go to the secondary evacuation, under the laws of this country, which is PNDC Law 81, Ghana Cocoa Board 1984, it's like we are into internal marketing, and the secondary evacuation is by private hauliers. So all these monies are paid by Cocoa Board. And this is what we said, okay, can we also get into this? And that's how we invested in 200 articulators. So that just like the Nigerian boys, we evacuate the cocoa from a district to Tema and get some revenue, we can also do that. So we did that with HSB. So the checks are written in the joint name of PBC, SSB, and they take that money. Okay, again, we came up to this Golden Bean, which was a 7-room guest house on a 2-acre land. And then we looked at it and said, okay, it's 10 meters away from Ahodo Runabout, 50 meters from Rich Police Station, 200 meters from Tulip. And they were giving businesses to this small institution, and that's how we got in. We took it to the board, ADM, and they approved it. That is how we got in. And the cash flow was that in 4 years it will be paid, so 2014 to 2018. And the banks, EcoBank, Societe, and they all agreed. So every year, the money that Cocoa Board gives us plus the overdraft is what we were using to fund this thing and paying from our revenues.
I'm grateful for your time, Nana Ajama Boateng, his former CEO of PBC. Meanwhile, Deputy CEO in charge of finance at the company, Vivian Boidi, says the management team is actively working to turn the company's fortunes around.
That comes along with it. Now, we could still maintain the same system and, however, have an improved version of what we are doing now to give us better results than what we have now. And because we rely solely on Cocoa Board Seed Fund, anytime there are hitches or there are issues, definitely would also run into cash flow problems. And I believe that is what happened last year, because if you check the previous year, 2019-2020, we were able to pay our salaries throughout the whole year. It was only in 2022 that we had the 3-month gap because we were expecting a certain amount from Cocoa Board. We didn't get that amount from Cocoa Board. So we were not able to do the sort of operations we intended to do. So it's not, we could have an improved system of what we are having now, and the system will still work. However, PBC itself has to work on itself. So it's not just looking at the financial restructuring. We also have to look at the operational restructuring of the company. And that is what management is currently tackling now, how to get the turnaround faster, be able to go back to board and get the seed fund and go back to the market. And that is what we are working on. We also have to look at the staff side of it. So PBC is currently going through some phase of restructuring to be able to stay profitable and be able to reverse the negative trend on our balance sheet and so resume our normal operations.